Well, I'm going to go ahead and call it the order, and we'll catch up with if whatever we need to, if someone comes in late. But let's see, for a roll call, we have, we'll just go around the room.
Yeah, the sign.
Just introduce yourself, we'll go around the room.
Tim Arnold, Public Schools. Darren Slater, Northwest Tech.
Jeremy Eaton, Northwest Tech.
David Hamill, Woods County.
Edward Sutter, Alva.
Terry Salisbury, Woods County Health Department.
Tom Parsons, Alva.
Jimmy Allen, Alva.
Kelly Parker, City of Alva. Absent Bryant Gingrich, City of Alva Planning Commission. I believe he'll be here. Hadn't heard from him this morning, but last we spoke, he didn't have any conflicts or anything.
The minutes are on the back side of your agenda from the previous meeting, well, except for Kelly's.
So item 2 is approval of the minutes from June 11, 2018.
I move we approve the minutes.
A motion by Darren Slater, is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Darren Slater, second by David Hamill to approve the minutes from June 11, 2018. Is there any further discussion?
I have none.
Let's vote. Argo,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Hamill,
Yep.
Sutter,
Yes.
Salisbury,
I recuse for David.
okay. Parsons,
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Parker, yes. Item 3 is overview and discussion of the proposed project plan and potential modifications. Jeff, would you care to update us with what you'd like to? I believe everybody has received the documents.
Sure. So most of the project plan was described or whatever at the June 11th meeting. So instead, I'm not going to go over each of the particulars in detail. I'm just going to go over the proposed modifications that have been included in the red line version of the document that Sonia sent out last week. And then afterwards, I'll just answer any questions that might be outstanding from the community members, if that's all right.
Sounds good.
One of the suggested, a suggested modification that was discussed at the last meeting was trying to come up with some way that the ad valorem taxing jurisdictions can share in the revenues before the end of the TIF district. So, in sections 8, Roman numeral 8, on page 4 of the red line document, you'll see there's a new section inserted into the project plan that provides for 20% of the ad valorem increment that would be generated from the event district to be apportioned to all the ad valorem taxing jurisdictions on an ongoing basis as a specific revenue source for all communities in the area in accordance with the constitutional and statutory provisions of the Local Development Act, and for those funds to be sent to each taxing entity in proportion to their operational ability, which pretty much is your ad valorem levy, not including any seeking funds. So you guys also received a copy of the full worksheet that we prepared that we're using as a basis for coming up with the budget. There is a split in the ad valorem detail tab that shows the potential total amount of revenue to all the different the findings and recommendation document, you'll see that there were 3 different options provided. He recommended, as it was initially proposed, all as along increment allocated towards authorized project costs, or as modified as shown in the red line draft, or you can come up with your own modification, however you guys feel is appropriate. At this time, I guess I'll entertain any questions to my about how the specific revenue source application would work. If you have any questions about projections or anything else about the project, I have any answer.
So of the review committee members, you had a chance to express your suggestions and whatnot. Number one, have they been addressed? If you have any questions, now would be the time to ask those.
Okay, I'm a long ways off, but I don't understand about sales tax. Is this just sales tax from the arena, or just cover sales tax this whole area?
My understanding is it's the entire municipal sales tax for the undedicated, so it's the 2% that's undedicated. And it is based on a formula that is tied to arena participation. So it's not just the sales at the arena, however, that would be included in it, but it would be the sales, any sales, taxable sales throughout the city of Alva would be subject to the formula. Is that correct, Jeff?
Yes, the way that you would account for the sales tax, Chairman is right, that is, it's an economic, it's called an economic impact sales tax, and what it does is takes the number of event registrants, participants for events at the arena and tries to calculate the economic impact that the arena has on the city's sales tax collections as a whole. I believe you guys were given a copy of the worksheet summary, which was a PDF of a Word document that explains a little bit about the different tabs in the worksheet. On the very last page, there's a note about the sales tax increment formula, accounting procedure about how the sales tax will be calculated and kept track of. Essentially, the arena authority would require lessees of the arena to maintain and provide records on the number of days for their event and the number of spectators or registrations needed for those events. And they would also submit information based on the zip code of registrants or the zip code of electronic or online ticket sales. And they would provide those at the conclusion of each meeting. So you would keep track of those in their own, I guess the arena authority, I'm sorry, to keep track of those in a database somewhere. And at the end of each fiscal year, they would be able to tell on a per capita basis, applying a simple assumption of $40 a day per day per capita daily expense for people who are local, or $100 per day for people who are not local. The total annual expenses subject to sales tax that the arena is actually brought into the city, and they would multiply that by a simple formula, and then effectively 1% or 50% of the city's undedicated sales tax collections from those people who attended events at the arena. So, but it's not specifically, it's not a point of sale increment district where all the sales tax increment is from areas inside the increment district. It tries to figure out what the impacts of the development within that district are on the city's overall sales tax collections.
Just for an example, and just for my understanding, not a little bit of trouble hearing, but let's say Atwood or Shepherd, they have an increase in sales tax, and they're in this area, is that correct? Would that, any of that money go to the arena?
Yes.
Sorry.
It will be, the arena will have to have participants and registrants in order for there to be a sales tax increment. The assumption, and it's going to be based on the city's total undedicated sales tax throughout the municipality. So that includes Shepherds and it includes Atwoods. So if there's an event, and there are participants that register and the Arena Authority tracks their participation, each participant will qualify for a portion of that increment. It's not going to be based on where the point of sale occurred. It's going to be based on the assumption that a point of sale did occur and that it occurred at a certain amount to generate sales tax increase for the city of Alva. So the 2% for the city of Alva is what's undedicated, and the Arena Authority, based on participation, would get half of that. So it's an assumption that people are going to spend money in our community, but it's not based on just a flat increase in local sales tax collections.
It's based on an event.
Because sales tax is pretty volatile, and this helps us have a formula that ties it back to the arena, whereas instead of an oil and gas boom or some other, maybe form of decline, the arena can still have the increment funding based on what they're bringing to the local economy.
I understand better.
As I understand it, basically at the end of the year, you'll take out-of-area guests, in-area guests, out-area times $100, in-area $40, and that total, say it's $100,000, and then that 2% would be applied to that, and then they split 50-50 with the city and the arena.
Okay.
That's how, so it just makes off what the arena generates in growth, and they split that 50-50 with the city on the 2%. Now, the other undedicated or dedicated entities will get 100% of
The dedicated entities get 100% of what they presently get.
To make sure I'm perfectly clear on the formula, based on the scenario you have laid out, if that played out with the number of participants and the spectators exactly as you have it, then if the city had $1 million or $5 million in sales tax revenue that year, they would still only get the $148,000 as you have in that scenario. Is that correct?
That's
That's
That was directed at me, and so I had difficulty hearing it.
I guess, basically the question is, just to make sure I'm clear, is the scenario that you have laid out, and the sales tip detail, if you actually had those number of spectators that played out exactly as it's laid out, then it wouldn't matter if the city had $1 million in tax revenue that was generated for sales tax, or $10 million, you'd still just get $148,000 that would go to the arena project. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I mean, if the number of visitors is what was included in the sales tax TIF summary detail tab on the worksheet. It's based strictly on spectators and participants at arena events, not on overall city sales taxes.
Okay. And $40 and $100 for non-locals and $40 for locals, that's going to remain static throughout the 25 years.
The proposed sales tax increment formula does include the cost of living or an inflation adjustment on an annual basis, but that wouldn't exceed 2% under what we're proposing.
Jeff, I'm going to let the members flip through the pages just a little bit longer.
Who's responsible for tracking the data of the participants? Well, who's going to keep that in
The Arena Authority.
the arena board to look at?
It'll be their
The
responsibility.
arena
to
authority
have
will set
that.
up procedures for how they operate the arena that would include a way to mandate that participants, not event participants, but the lessees of the arena track this information and turn it into them.
So ultimately, if they fail on that end, they're hurting themselves. So that is their responsibility to be able to turn that into you.
And there's, I guess,
If they have participation, which they haven't tracked zip code, the formula gets applied at the local rate.
Okay. So again, the evidence for that is ticket purchases online. That's what's actually showing participant, visitor local.
All at the gate purchases are figured at the local rate.
And if someone
Want to
wanted
make
to,
sure that the sales tax is verifiable, so if you can't verify that someone's from out of town, it would be a significant.
Right.
and if someone wanted to change this plan in the future, would it be the county commissioners that would have to approve it?
It would be,
The city, on the city's part of it,
I would assume if any changes would have to go through all of the approving entities.
Was the question about if they wanted to amend the project plan?
Yes.
Minor amendments, which don't change any of the geographies of the project plan, so the increment district and the project area boundaries will remain the same, and the budget does not increase more than 5%, could potentially be a minor amendment, it would not be required to go back to the review committee, that would just go straight back to Board of County Commissioners and City Council. Anything beyond that, or anything that changes the geography, would be required to go back to the entire statutory process.
Thank you.
Did you hear that, Kelly?
Is it possible to put into the proposal anything like a safe stop that would actually put the plan on hold, or put the tax dollars that would go to the project on hold if the city was limited on cash? For instance, if, say, in any year, if the revenues did not exceed expenses by 1.5 times, then the plan would be on hold, or the taxes that are paid for the plan would be on hold until that ratio gets back up over that level. Is that possible?
Can you repeat the question? I had difficulty understanding.
Basically, is there any way to actually put into the proposal and put into the plan, like a safe stop, for instance, if the city would actually be short on revenue in 1 year, you could actually put a clause in there that makes it on hold for X period of time until a certain ratio gets back up to a particular level. For instance, like if you had revenue, you wanted to keep it at 1.5 times, more revenue, so 50% more revenue than you're getting in expenses, that you can actually put away that the city would have. If it falls less than that, then the plan is on hold until the ratio gets back up to a certain level. Is that something that'd be common or difficult to put in?
By the plan, do you mean the sales tax formula or the entire project?
In general, or either or.
A lot of that's going to depend on how the arena is ultimately financed, I think. For that, I probably need to turn it over to Todd
He's
or
not
something.
here yet.
And he's actually not here right now, but this we can
Okay.
come back later.
The final financing plan on how the arena is going to be literally paid for has not been finalized yet, to my knowledge anyway. Depending on how it's financed, you could put situations in there that would require a certain funding level or ratio before anything is financed. As to specific, dealing with specifically with the increment portion, the ad valorem increment, unless the values increase within the increment district, there's not going to be any increment to be generated from the project on that side. On the sales tax increment district, we can include a clause in the proposed sales tax increment formula that there needs to be an increase in sales beyond a certain amount overall in the city in order for there to be a sales tax increment. We can include something like that. That would make sure that the sales tax, the city sales, overall sales tax numbers won't come down.
Yeah, right.
They still have to commit increment funds to the project.
Okay, but nothing could be done with the actual increase in property values outside of this sales tax, right? You couldn't put a clause in that would put it on hold or some metric that had to be met for the actual.
I don't think I don't think there's a way that you can put it on hold. You could recommend only a portion of the increment actually generated be used towards the project cost, similar to what was been proposed for the taxing jurisdictions being allocated a portion of it. You can say that only 80% of the increase in value is going to generate increment. That way, if you have an increment dollar, $1 in extra tax revenue bought, only 80 cents of that would be technically increment, and the rest would be non-increment.
Okay.
That being said, the project plan is an act of local legislation, and it can be repealed or amended at any time. The only caveat on that, like I mentioned, is that if you have pledged increment revenues to specific financing obligations, you have to get the approval and sign off of financiers before you can actually get to the increment district.
Would this be considered a contract between the city and the county and the arena authority?
This is not considered a contract. There is a memorandum of understanding between the city and the county as to how the increment district and project plan would be created. And then once the project plan itself is, like I said, the project plan is a legislative document. It pretty much provides the four corners that the city and the county, the city and public trust, and the authority can operate under. There can be, and we often represent an implementation MOU once the project plan is adopted, so that all the parties are very clear about what their responsibilities are and timing on certain project costs and things like that. But any kind of contract like that would be very difficult to implement in total because of the constitutional restrictions on multi-year obligations and whatnot. That's one of the reasons why public trusts are typically the entities that actually implement project plans, because they're not subject to the same fiscal year limitations.
As far as City of Alva is concerned, we've had time to review with our own TIF attorneys, and we've had time to review with our finance committee, and we feel that the City of Alva is, as far as participating in this project is concerned, we feel like the current proposal is something that we can put before our council and our planning commission, as well as we feel it mitigates any unreasonable risks associated with this type of economic development. So we've had all of our concerns and worries addressed within the changes to the, or either in the original proposal or the changes that have been made, and are prepared to, I think we would be prepared to give this favorable consideration once it went in front of our bodies.
What about, I like it, the school systems, how do you all feel about it?
I know we met and with the proposed recommendation that's on here with a 80-20 split of those funds, with 20% going back to the current applicable receiving entities that we're in support of. Yes.
Well, we, the Board of Commissioners, we feel the same way. We want to back you guys, what you feel. It does, as far as the tax increase for us, very minimal, but we want to support City Alva and the school system, VOTEC, and the public schools. So we're good with what you guys recommend. As far as our end goes.
I think we stand to benefit quite a bit from this if if the ambitions of the Arena Authority hold true, this is going to be great for our community. Are there, before we move on to the next agenda item, are there any other discussion, questions regarding the project plan? I'm going to move on to item 4, which is action concerning proposed project plan and recommendations of the review committee as desired. I need one point of clarification. When we make a motion on this, do we need to specify that this is the red letter version in order to ensure, and actually, let's just do that. And that way, there's no question if somebody were to make a motion.
And then on the findings and recommendation, the actual physical document, you would make sure that you check the middle box.
There is an option on the back page, and we all have a copy of this.
I got it. Is everybody clear on that? If so, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the draft as modified, provide for a 20% of ad valorem increment to be allocated to ad valorem taxing entities as indicated in the red line draft of the project plan dated June 20th, 2018.
I have a motion by Mr. Slater. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion by Darren Slater, second by David Hamel to approve the proposed project plan and recommendations of the review committee as presented today, and as modified to provide for 20% of the ad valorem increment to be allocated to ad valorem taxing entities as indicated in the red line draft of the project plan dated June 20, 2018. Is there any further discussion?
I'd like to hear how our local motel owner, Don Parsons, feels about this project.
You know, this is my second meeting, you know, and I take it back and I read over it and I answer most of the questions that were kind of concerning and that it creates about, you know, that many more every time I read over this. I think, you know, something has got to be done, obviously, to draw people to town. And, so I think it's a good thing, you know, well, any business, pretty much. I've never had the nicest motel in town, okay? But it's always been ran well. And it is, you know, constantly built from there. You know, building it is one thing. You know, running it is the part that I'm, in the back of my mind, I'm struggling with. Because, you know, when you really, that's just a tough one. And this is gonna be, and that's a whole nother, I mean, who's qualified to do that? You know, kind of a tough on-the-job training type deal, you know, with our money or everybody's money. So I think it's a great thing. I think he can be just outstanding. You know, anything that has anything to do with taxes is, you know, kind of a sore spot for me. But you know, you just swallow hard and go along with it. You know, believe in the end. But the running of it is something that I'll be, you know, more curious of. You know, a lot of this stuff, honestly, you know, third district's going over my head, and I'm grasping straws and putting it together later on after I leave. But the running it, I'm fully aware of what it takes to run a business. You know, not that big, but I think it's going to be interesting to watch. I don't know if that answered your question or not, but I'm definitely for it, but I'm just curious how it's going to be handled once it's there and where we and how we go forward.
It's a very ambitious plan.
Yes. And as I said, I don't know who you hired, but I said, other than someone that has a proven past record of doing it.
I know the Arena Authority spent a lot of time looking at that, between looking at complex design and looking at how they're gonna operate it moving forward. And I think they have an idea.
I like just, maybe even the big picture is you finding somebody that can run and keep them.
Oh, that's it.
That's the big
If
picture.
they prove they can,
I've seen
then
it
they have
happen.
to be the
I've seen it
way.
happen to me
The Arena
times.
Authority has a huge, I mean, finding somebody to manage it, run it, promote it is going to be,
And then keep them.
and keeping them there and keeping it running is going to be a huge challenge. And, I mean, I think when it comes right down to it, when it happens, I think people in the community is going to look and say, wow, that costs a lot of money to hire that person. But in return, if you hire the right person, that money will be well invested,
Yeah, and they'll produce results.
you know.
Yeah,
But
right.
that's what,
I know Woodward and Chickasha been having a tug of war on Woodward's guy. They did.
I'm not sure it's been as successful without him either. He brought a lot of good stuff.
and he's making
Shucks.
Chickasha run like wildfire.
That guy.
I mean, I talk to him every now and again. I don't know if you did with him or not. He's making Chickasha go big time. And that's what we need. But he puts his heart into it.
Sure.
I mean, he takes it on as it is his own. That's what we, or the Arena Authority is going to be taxed with finding somebody that, I mean, what was listed in here, the items, you know, that's got to explode and think outside of the box to make ours work different than, say, Woodward's. But the forethought was put together where the county runs Woodward's and they're very limited on budget, what they can do. And I think here, like was said at the last meeting, there's not any place else in Oklahoma that has a private funding donated towards something like we do, which is huge. But it's still going to be a challenge to make it run and keep operating every day, every year, and build on it. But we do good things now locally. I think it's challenging. Can take, we just got to make it work.
We do have a motion. Do we have any further discussion? All right, let's vote. Argo.
Yes.
Slater.
Yes.
Hamel.
Yep.
Gingrich.
Yes.
Sutter.
Yes.
Southbury.
Recused today.
Parsons.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Parker. Yes. All right. Item 7 is, we skipped 5 and 6.
Sorry.
But future meeting schedule. Sonia, would you care to go over that for us?
I don't know that they're, for this entity, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are finished. Now, this will go to,
Jeff, Sonia asked if the review committee, her understanding is that the review committee's work is finished, that this will now go to the planning commission for the city of Alva. It will then, which will be tonight at 6 o'clock. It'll then be on a future city council meeting agenda after it goes through planning commission, and then it'll go to the Woods County Commissioners probably at their next meeting, I would assume.
There are 2 public hearing requirements, so
Okay.
after the planning commission, it'll have to go through 2 public hearings, both the city council and the county commissioners. And those public hearings have to be at least 2 weeks apart. So we're looking at, I think,
And they will be available for the public news, actually.
Yeah, our Center for Economic Development law going to be available for our public hearings.
we will be available one way or another, yes.
Thank you.
But we have a working schedule as the first council meeting
it's, Jeff, if I'm correct, we're following that meeting schedule that I sent you in your last packet.
Yes, if for whatever reason those days don't work, that's always, we can always, that is what we're shooting for.
I can forward that out to everybody
Okay,
again.
that'd be great. Thank you.
Is there any other business?
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Jimmy, Dawn, and Ed for serving on our behalf. Thank you, Brian, for coming. I think that, I hope that we've made progress for our community, our county, and I really do thank you guys. It's Kelly and I talked and chose you people to serve for us, and I'm more than tickled, and I hope you stay participating. In other ways in Woods County, and I hope I speak for the city of Iowa. Thank you very, very much, and thank you also for participating. Thank you guys, schools. It's important for you all too. It can bring good things for everybody.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I'm glad we went through this process. It's not, I don't feel like it's been a rubber stamp by any means. Everybody's thought about it and thought about what it would mean for their situations, and I feel good about it moving forward. All right. We're adjourned. Thank you all.